Welcome back. It's Rick Chavez with Battle Ready. It's the process of reinventing yourself. What we're going to talk today is Adam Spiegel from the YMCA. He's the Executive Director of Philanthropy. And one of our past shows, Adam told us about his journey from working in the bagel world with his family for 10 plus years to being where he's at now and some of the challenges and some of the things he experienced throughout the way. Adam, welcome.
Thanks, Ricky.
So, earlier on one of our shows, we talked a little bit about your challenges, and you were kind of unique. You didn't have any challenges, but then you brought something to me. So currently you're the Executive Director of Philanthropy. I know you said you shortened that up a little bit, but you started in the front, right?
Yeah.
And then you went into the youth development area.
I did.
And have there ever been an opportunity that you saw within the Y or a job you really wanted and you applied and you didn't get it?
Yeah, absolutely. Unfortunately, fortunately, however you want to look at it, right? Yeah, I did. I transitioned positions over a 10-year period in operations, right? I was at the Welcome Center at the Y 13 years ago this week.
Okay.
I started, and I moved into the youth development role pretty quickly. I moved into a senior a membership director role where sales were very important, sales and service, everything else we do. But I was there, and then I transitioned into a director of operations role, which then an executive director role. But within that time, I had applied for positions, and I didn't always get them. And I interviewed. I got better at interviewing, things like that. But there were times when I didn't get it. And
okay. Well, so let's talk about the interviewing process. So you totally did all your homework to get interviewed. Did you ever go to interview unprepared? Did you want to kick yourself in the leg because you thought about the interview and some of the things you could have done to prepare better?
Yeah, that's a loaded question, Rick.
It is.
I'm just going to be honest.
Sure.
I think I shared, right? Being over prepared for me, I think about it too often, and then the wrong things just might come out. But yeah, did I go into every one prepared? I probably went into some overconfident, thinking I was prepared, but I just wasn't, And so as I continued to interview, I get great feedback at the Y, right? And that's how I got better. So the one experience of the multiple that I was just sharing with you, I interviewed. I felt good. I had good feedback after, but I didn't get the position. Mm-hmm. It was better than my last ones, so that was good for me. Right?
Okay.
I was like, okay, I'm getting there. But yeah, I think the interview process is always challenging, and either you're a really good talker and you could talk about yourself and get your and really show what you're made of, and I think that's where I lacked, right? I just wasn't good at talking about myself. So I've gotten better. I feel more confident just about talking about me and it being natural and not thinking about every situation that I've experienced that I need to share. But yeah, I think it's that genuine part in an interview is what I've gotten better at. So.
Okay, so one of the things you said is you got positive feedback. Negative feedback is sometimes a plus too, right?
I mean, constructive, negative.
Okay, yeah. Okay, much better word, constructive. So tell me about one of the constructive feedback that you got that maybe shocked you for a minute, but once you really looked into it, you made some adjustments.
Oh, that's a good one. So early on in my career, right, I was told by a supervisor, you get from A to L, but you forget about M to Z. Now, it took me a little while to get there, right? I get it started, right, but I can't finish. And I was like, oh, that's a really good perception, some good feedback. And so I asked some questions, and I was like, help me, right? And I think a lot of it had to do with organization, right, and the structure of whether it was my day or my office or my files or whatever it was, right? And so I think it was really just that was probably one of the best ones. I might use that out loud sometimes in a nicer way, if I'm being honest. But yeah, I think that was it, right? I can start it at a really high level, but can I finish it at the same or a better level than what it was? And it makes more sense to me every day. because you work with a lot of people, right? And or I work with a lot of people, and you just think about, there's so much going on in everyone's life, right? And you just, you want to be able to support them, and you want them to be efficient and be able to spend time with their family and spend time, quality time at work and with their peers and with their friends. And I mean, if you're not organized and efficient, it's really hard to do all of that stuff, right? To get it all in. So
that's definitely an interesting analogy. A to L and not M to Z. Many people would take that very negatively and maybe not be able to bounce back from it. Have you ever caught yourself, and I want you to be honest now, caught yourself where it's like, I need to be positive, because I've never known you not to be positive, but a little down on yourself and what does this guy know? But as you think about it a little bit more, you regrouped?
Absolutely. I would always assume positive intent by most. I try to. The way they deliver it, what they're trying to get to me, right? I like the direct stuff, man. Like get me there. Don't make me read in between the lines. I don't have that kind of time, right? This goes back to my organization efficiency. If I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, trying to figure out what you're trying to tell me, I'm not going to move forward, right? I'm not going to get better. And most people might not be like that. I know that the people I surround myself with want to make me better, and that's really how I take it. Maybe not every experience, but the older I get, the more mature I get, however you want to look at it, the more I get past how they said it and what their intent really is.
That's one of the things I told a lot of people. I was in HR for a lot of years. I said, you got to overlook the delivery and just hear what they're saying. But you also said something earlier that hit me, was the fact that you said, they gave me feedback and I asked a lot of questions. Instead of drawing into yourself and really thinking how devastated you might be, you asked them additional questions to kind of find out, all right, what you are really trying to say versus reading between the lines. Did that help you?
Yeah, I think it just, that makes me better, right? You telling me, if you kept it in, if I didn't ask questions and you didn't give the truth to me, then how am I going to get better at what it was? And that's how I was saying, my interview processes got better. I know they weren't good. I know they weren't better than the person before me or the person out, probably the person right after me, but they were getting better because of the feedback that I was getting and how I processed it, right? And how I thought I can get better, so.
Okay, so let's push it to a different thing, all right? So being positive all the time, customer service, which, many of us are in. Talk to me about a situation where you had an individual or a prospective person coming to the Y and they didn't know how they could make it happen or become part of it, or they had some feedback that was untrue, but they didn't know it. How did you help them or work with them? You were telling me about a situation that you had for this.
I don't know if that was it, but I have another situation.
Okay.
But that's for this in particular. I think, again, going back to customer service, you want to impress everybody, right? You want everybody to think the highest of the product or the service that you're delivering. It's not always possible, right? We've got a lot of folks that walk in or wherever it is in our life that are a part of the Y or a program or anything like that. And I think, listening to what their needs are or what they're expressing is really important, right? In any situation. If we start talking, if we start explaining before we actually hear, I think we're just putting ourselves into a tough scenario. If there's an expectation of a service and the quality or the need of the individual or the family, I would want them to share, right? We would want anybody to share about their experience because we want to get better, right? We might not be able to hit every need, but we need to be transparent and say, hey, we're not going to be able to make this happen. We could make this happen. I think, now that I think about what you were saying, sorry, there was a scenario. I received a phone call in about 2014, spring of 2014, and a parent had called, and they were they weren't able to pay a fee for a program. And she said, my son just wants to play. He has a friend that plays baseball in a little league, and he just is always out there. He goes to practice. He always wants to participate. Now, this is 12 years ago, right? Just about. And she said, we're not going to be able to pay for it. And I said, hey, like, let me see what I can do. So I went to my supervisor and I said, hey, a parent called. Her son just wants to play. He's 12 years old. He wants to play Miracle League baseball. And he said, okay, we don't need to, we can just subsidize it, right? We have fundraising dollars that we can support. And so I call her up, and I was like, hey, just want to let you know, we're going to cover the fee for you. And she's like, really? And right, the kid gets to the first game and has a full, his full uniform that he gets, right? He puts on his socks, his pants, his belt, his jersey, his hat, the whole thing. And mom just walked up and she said, you don't know what you're doing for him. What did I say, 13, 12 years ago, 11 years ago, whatever it might have been. They're still there. They play Monday night. He plays in competitive, the competitive Miracle League that plays on Monday nights, and he's there. He participates. This is a conversation that I had 11 years ago, and I haven't paid $1 since, So you just make things happen for people. And I think that scenario, right, is more of how we're supporting in fundraising. But yeah, I think.
Well, no, I definitely appreciate you bringing that up, and definitely talking about the Miracle League. We'll talk a little bit more on one of our shows about the Miracle League. Again, Adam, it's been a pleasure having you on here. Everybody, we're getting ready to go to another commercial. I appreciate your time, Mr. Adam Spiegel with the YMCA. Talk to you soon.